Content warning. Today's episode of Pop Culture covers topics that may be disturbing for some viewers or listeners. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Hello, my lovely hummingbirds, and welcome to Season 5. It is officially Season 5 of Pop Culture. As a whole, like the entire podcast, I'm so excited personally. And what better way to start off than with a little bit of makeup and motivation here on Pop Culture with your lovely host, Monroe. How's it going, everyone? For anyone that is new or returning, hi. I love y'all. I miss y'all. Your support is everything to me. And also, before we get into everything, today's topic of conversation is today's title of the episode is Everything is a Cyclone I Mean Cycle. And it goes in line with today's topic of conversation, which is about repeating cycles in the self-healing journey. That being said, if you fast forwarded past the little blurb that I have as far as viewer and listener discretion, this is going to be a little bit of a heavier episode, so I just wanted to get on here and say that. If you are not in the proper mental space to listen to something like this, then this is not the episode to watch, quite unfortunately. But if you're like, yeah, I'm ready to listen to some, cycle breaking shit, then alright, let's do it. I'm so excited. Okay. And yes, this is the makeup look for today's video. TikTok saw it first. Teehee. But before we begin everything else, bruh. Why am I sounding out so bad? Before we get started with today's video, I do want us to take a quick moment of silence for all the lives that we have lost in the past month or so since the last episode of Makeup and Motivation. Join me now in this moment of silence. Thank you all for joining me in that moment of silence. I greatly appreciate it. Now that being said, without further ado, let us go into the creation of this very stunning Cher-inspired makeup look. Yeah, let's get into it, shall we? Hi, my lovely hummingbirds. For today's Cher-inspired makeup look, the star of the show is going to be this Kiss Black eyeshadow primer by Glamlight that I'm applying with that brush, and the Zulu palette by Juvia's Place. Honestly, I feel like I applied a little too much primer, and this makeup look quickly became a trust the process. Praying to the makeup gods because Lord, sweet baby Jesus. And I did take a little, like my little spongy, my beauty blender there, just so that I could pat it down a little bit because oof. And we are using two colors, the turquoise and lime green, as well as the Ménage à Moi by ColourPop in the shade Crave for the upper brow bone area. But first, we're going to start off with that gorgeous turquoise from the Zulu palette. Yes, it is shimmery. Yes, it is bright. Yes, I am mesmerized by the fact that it looks just absolutely stunning on this primer. Honestly, I was so nervous. I had no idea what this was going to look like, but it's so pigmented. And clearly, my face just says it all. Because it's so pretty. Now, after we apply that, we go in with that lime green over it. Yes, we layered it because I was trying to get a very specific, pretty lime green turquoise eye look out of this. And it's a process for sure. Now for this part, we take Crave and we put it all on our upper brow bone area, and it did give kind of more of a graying effect to the eyeshadow, which I thought was super cool and went very in line with today's makeup look. But yeah, it took quite a few applications to get it to not look like I had double the eyebrows as I was doing this makeup look. And here, just a little bit of continual admiration for the way this look is developing. Up next, I did go ahead and take the shade Thrillist in the Ménage à Moi ColourPop palette just to give it some more sparkle. Honestly, it is one of my favorite shades in the entire thing. And if I could just have a little tin of only that pigment, I would be so happy. But anyway, we're applying it to everywhere that we applied Crave, and also I'm staring at the insides because it looks a little darkened, but I'm like, How am I gonna make this work? Simply apply more of the blue little turquoise on the eyelids and blend it out. And that's exactly what we did, because even in the picture, Cher's is more blue than what I'm making it right here. And mine is a little too green in comparison, so I'm like, we're going to keep adding it on there until I get the desired effect. But it's so good. I'm in love with this makeup look. Up next, because I totally forgot my foundation at home when I created this makeup look, we're going to go in with the Makeup Forever HD Concealer in the shade 3.4N. And we are going to do an all-over face application. Yes, sometimes I use my concealer as foundation. Today was one of those days. This was before I got a little tanner, so the concealer was actually too dark for me, and it actually worked out perfectly. But now we're going to use our winteriest shade of Too Faced Foundation as our concealer. I know, working real backwards on this one. It is the Born This Way in the shade Swan. And we are doing all of our concealing points with foundation real backwards in this episode. And now to make sure that this stays absolutely put and doesn't budge, we are going to go in there with our baking powder and just set it, because y'all, this look cannot move. And this ring light is so hot, so we got to make sure that we are baking the entirety of our under eye area, and also applying some of this loose setting powder to all of the high points that we highlighted with our concealer, but also to the rest of our face as well, and just really get things to set, but bake it onto the under eye, because if we're recreating this makeup look, Cher was giving Morticia Gomez level eyes in that image, so make sure you bake. So for the spray right here, it was giving Pretty Pink Nut Coral Fantasy. So we're going to go in with the Milani Cosmetics Baked Powder Blush in the shade Luminous. And we're going to apply that over that pink, that like really bright pink we just applied. Because this one also has a bit of like a shimmer to it that I really love. Another thing to note here, please clean your brushes, because that might also be impacting the shade of everything I'm putting on. And up next for the contour. And every time I hear contour, all I think about is a TikTok. If the men find out we can shapeshift, they're going to tell the church. The other thing is that I also switched out the brush because I didn't like the way that the one that I was using prior it wasn't giving the angle I needed it to. And this one just is my go-to contour brush. It works so well. And I know I should have a tinier brush for the nose, but didn't do it. Yes, we are trying to elongate our features here. We are trying to be as Cher as we possibly can. And yes, I am baking pretty much this entire time for the under eye portion. I will show y'all a comparison picture after of like the makeup look I was reflecting, taking inspiration from. But yeah, if you didn't catch it, especially in the introduction portion, I was looking at it and I was like, wow, I look like a sepia picture from 70s, 80s. Right here, we're just applying some powder foundation in the shade Light Medium. Yes, Light Medium Sand from Tarte, the Amazonian Clay line. And with it, we're also wiping the excess off of our under eye area of the remaining baking powder. In just a few moments for admiration of this makeup look, and why does it look so good already? Up next, we applied the lips, and we did Milani Cosmetics lipstick in the shade Orangina. And the Glam Baddie little peachy lip gloss. And honestly, I love the combination. It also helped bring out more of those peachy undertones from the blush. But this part is one of my absolute favorites of the entire makeup look, because this is the part where we do the eyeliner going into the crease portion slightly above the brow bone area, and it's amazing. I was so nervous doing it. I was like, if I mess this up, I have to do the entire thing over again. It's really sweating on this one, y'all. For all my lovely hummingbirds that are trying to recreate this makeup look, always start with the eyeliner on, like, not the waterline, but by your lash area. Do that one first. Can you tell my nervousness? I'm like, shit, let me not ruin this. But just because of the way that like my eyes are shaped, I do draw a bit above the actual like crease area, just so that we don't lose the makeup look. And then once you do that little squiggly line, you're going to go ahead and connect it to the lash line. Oh my god, so many lines in one sentence. And make sure basically the ends of both of those connect. Also, yes, a eyeliner pen works best. And don't worry about, like, you see how right there it didn't come out as clean as the other side. It looks a little like it's dripping. Because of the way that I drew it in. That's fine, especially because we're gonna take this look and basically blend out that black portion with a deeper blue. the blue in question is from our ColourPop So Jaded makeup palette, and the shade is Sapphire. And for this one, you are going to take a not so dense flat brush, and you're going to apply that Midnight to both eyeliner parts, concentrating more on the one that is slightly above the crease in order to shade it out, and then doing the one on the lash line, really making sure you're blending as you go to not only eliminate the harshness of the black eyeliner that you used, but also to help blend it and create this really nice shadow effect to it. Now for the next portion, I did work on the waterline, and I cannot show the whole thing, but I put a pencil liner on the waterline and did the same thing, covering it with the sapphire, and like, it just looks absolutely phenomenal on the eyes. I am in love. Alright, I'm gonna go brush out my hair so you can get the full effect, and here's the makeup look. Is it giving Cher? Is it giving stunning? Is it giving absolutely gorgeous? I think so. Well, my lovely hummingbirds, this is the makeup look. Let me know what you think, and please join me for today's episode of Pop Culture. Love you. Bye. Now, what do we think about the makeup look, my lovely hummingbirds? Personally, I'm obsessed, okay? Like, I am in love with this makeup look. Yes, I did take the inspiration from this Cher image that you did see in the clip of the makeup video itself. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're tuning in on Spotify only, it is an image of Cher during her time on the Carol Burnett show, and I was like, you know, that makeup look would be so hot if I did something with it. And honestly, I am not disappointed. I am obsessed. Just random little something I've discovered about myself recently is when I like the way the makeup looks, I end up taking a carousel of like over 50 pictures of said look, and then I'm stuck there like, ooh, knowing damn well, first off, I'm never gonna post probably more than 2 or 3 pictures of a look. But I'm like, oh my god, look at it, it's so pretty, look at all the angles. And like a weird little dissociation, because I know it's me, but in the moment I'm just like, tra la 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 la. Anyway, hi my lovely hummingbirds. So much has happened since we last spoke officially. The Olympics happened, which in itself was the whole thing. The DNC is here in Chicago, the Democratic National Convention, for those of you that don't know or are not stateside or up to date on politics here in the US. A whole lot of inappropriate dances are happening on TikTok. Blake Shelton. Why did I think of Blake Shelton? Not Blake Shelton. Blake Lively. Is going through some major drama, and everyone on the internet is learning to be a little more demure, a little bit more modest, more cutesy, more mindful, and I am so here for it. But a couple more somber notes. as I mentioned, the DNC is here in the city of Chicago currently, and I am going to cover that more in depth of everything that occurred on next week's episode, since things are still currently developing and we are on day 1 of the DNC on Monday, which, like, it's happening on a super full moon, and like, it's a blue moon. Coincidence? My spiritual soul says not. However, y'all, when I was coming to the office, I was like, why, there's a lot of police over here. I forgot today was the start of the DNC, and I was like, oh my god, it's giving me, and I think I mentioned this before, so I was sick as fuck earlier in the year, and I was like, oh my god, I'm watching the case of the Chicago 7, or I think that's what it's called, Chicago 8, 7, one of those numbers, and I was like, okay, weird thought process, but it's definitely the air in the world right now, and everything happening politically and socioeconomically and all of that is heavily reminding me of the time period for when the film is based, per the Democratic National Convention being here at that point in time as well. I think it was 1968, and I was like, weird. Similarities are similaring, but yeah, we're gonna cover more on that. Some things that I do know as of right now that occurred. Some protesters did breach one of the gates. Others were demanding the end of... Sorry, I am very sleepy. I actually ended up recording a lot later than expected just because of background noise in my office space. And if any of you watching are also content creators and you know really good fucking soundproofing for a microphone, I would greatly appreciate it. Even if I gotta stick it on my walls, windows here in the office, please, your girl needs it. Because Lord, my patience is attested. Anyway, so one of the things being demanded by those that were protesting was for an end of the genocide occurring in Gaza, the end of the war on Gaza, the end of the rising death toll of Palestinian people. It is over 40,000. One of the very interesting things that I didn't know when I read this article, I think it was on AP News, and they mentioned how here in Chicago and Illinois we have the largest Palestinian population in the entirety of the US. I didn't know that. I'm like, damn, that's wild. I don't know why. I was just like, I don't know. Sometimes when I see like the census numbers and things, I'm like, but did we count everyone? Because it might be more than we think. My brain is like right now. But not just that, it's all eyes are very heavily on what is happening this election season, especially when it comes to, I guess, the fate of the US and how our country is going to move over the course of the next 4 years and on, especially considering that the two of the people running for the main parties, which is the Democratic and Republican parties here in the country, are not what everyone is really supporting, just because it's this notion of like, it feels very lesser of two evils again, but of course one is definitely worse than the other, and not many agree, dividing even the Democratic Party, like Democratic voters, because of Kamala Harris's action and inaction towards everything occurring in Palestine right now. Last I checked, the death toll currently holds at over 40,000, which is insane in itself. And I don't know, my lovely hummingbirds. I feel like we're reaching a year almost, and it seems very surreal, to say the least. Now, in other news, as I was saying, the Olympics were just held in Paris, and honestly, I mean, Snoop Dogg is always a vibe. Let's just be real. He's always a vibe in whatever he comes out in. I think he made over like $8 million easy during the course of the 2 weeks that the Olympics are held, which I don't know why I thought the Olympics were longer. I don't know if I'm tripping. I might be, but I don't know why I always felt like, at least when I was younger, that like they were like a month long of events and shit. No, it's only 2 weeks apparently. But the Team USA did end up taking 40 gold medals, 44 silvers, and 42 bronze medals. And the Olympics is always kind of rife with drama. It's something that I feel like has always happened. Same when they do the World Cup. I'm translating all the things in from Spanish to English. My brain right now. Y'all, these retrogrades that are retrograding are kicking my ass this time around. They're ripping me a new one. So, as I mentioned, we do have the full supermoon in Aquarius. We have Mercury in retrograde. We have, I think it's Pluto is also currently in retrograde. I don't know, there's a whole lot of planets planeting, and my brain is just like, we will do everything as concisely as possible, but also forget our words halfway through. So, oh my god, that's the other thing that I was going to say about the DNC. I know I'm like jumping back and forth. So, and this gets very like a grain of salt. And for those of you tuning in for the first time, A Grain of Salt is the spiritual series on this channel. And there I cover everything to do with spirituality and horoscopes and astrology and planets and zodiacs and all of that. And I also do readings as well. And it is the guaranteed way of getting a reading from yours truly for free. Because otherwise it's via my Calendly, and those we gotta pay for. But so Aquarius has always been like, well, it essentially rolls over social status, over societal views, norms, you know, breaking things down to make it better kind of energy. I was gonna say Aquarius is really just Scorpio in different font. But it is really something that brings to the forefront social issues and matters. And we are very heavily in that energy right now as of today. And technically full moon energy lasts like a couple days before, a couple days after, so it has been a week. Just chaos plus all the other alignments. So I don't think it's a coincidence TNC is being held right now. I don't think it's a coincidence that everything that we saw happen at the Olympics happened at the Olympics. I also don't see it as a coincidence that millennials and Gen Zs are just over it collectively when it comes to things being said versus displayed through action. Anyway, as I was saying, the Olympics. So a lot happened from Imane Khalif winning the medal for, I think it's not the featherweight, but in the women's sector, and the contrincante. How do you say that in English? Her opponent basically gave up the match, saying that the punch was too strong. Immediately, there were accusations made against the main that she is a man because of possessing XY chromosomes, and that she was born not a woman, and all this stuff. Good old JK Rowling, disappointing an entire generation, went ahead and tweeted that something about how it wasn't fair because she wasn't a real woman or whatever bullshit she said. And then Elon Musk was like, men don't belong in women's sports. And I'm just like, but she's not trans though. And even if she were, that's a whole other conversation for a different time. But my whole thing was like, they were really, really going in, because the thought process was that she was born biologically male when she was not. There is an image circulating of supposedly baby Iman as a child. I don't know if that is actually genuinely a baby picture of her, so I'm not gonna put it on the internet because I don't know whose kid that is. But my whole thing with it was like, basically she has a condition where she does have not only X chromosomes but Y chromosomes, so biologically, yes, she has more. See, it's what are words? Biologically, like on a chromosomal level, she would be considered male, but is not. It's some condition, I can't remember the name of it, but oh my god, the internet world was in such a fucking frenzy at that point in time. I was just like, wow at a lot of these fucking comments. Anyway, congrats to Maine for taking the gold medal home to Algeria. Now, with that, I mean, from Simone Biles just being absolutely amazing and everything that we want in our gymnastics princess. She's a queen. She is royalty when it comes to Team USA and the gymnastics world. An incredible athlete. I was mesmerized. I don't know. It's one of my favorite parts of the Olympics, just saying. But I saw her do her thing and I was like, yes, she landed it. Not like I know how to do any gymnastics, but other notable moments was the French polo vaulter letting his personal pole get in the way of his polo vaulting. I shouldn't laugh. I was like, oh. Talk about a good problem to have. Anyway, it's been a while, y'all. The other thing that was just, everyone was fucking cracking up, they were eating it up, was the Australian breakdancer, Reagan. Her routine for the Australian breakdance team. Everyone is fucking just caking her, and she did end up releasing a statement saying like she poured her heart and soul into this routine. There were other rumors about how her husband, who is also a breakdancer, supposedly was on the judges panel and like had whatever type of sway to get her in. A different breakdancer, if I'm not mistaken, came out, and I think their name is Rush. Pretty sure it's Rush. And they were like, no, like that's actually not true. That I don't know, the comment was something along the lines of, sorry, I just like touched my eyeball. Had a little eyelash in there. Yeah, that shit hurt. So, you know, this Mercury and reggaeton is really whooping my ass right now. But basically said No, not true. False rumors, false accusations, and yeah. But Reagan released, and like I said, a statement saying that she poured her heart and soul into it. And, you know, the internet be interneting, and they were like, girl, if that qualifies for breakdancing in the Olympics, I could have totally done it. I was just like, you know, after seeing her performance, no shade, but I was like, I've done that when I was small and I thought I could break dance. What was the comment I saw? Someone said something along the lines of like, if you ever want to see a replay of it, just listen to the kid that says, look what I can do. I'm like, I can't stand y'all. Other notable things that happened, there were some disqualifications during the Paris Olympics. I can't remember where. I think she was a swimmer. Might have been for Brazil. I cannot remember off the top of my head right now, but her and her boyfriend, who was also a fellow Olympian, left the Olympic Village, and like they're not supposed to leave, the athletes aren't supposed to leave without permission once they enter the village. Another one, I think he was a tennis player, someone took a picture of him asleep on the grass, and the statements were because the conditions in the Olympic Village were so awful and all this stuff. But I feel like that happens every time the Olympics happen. I don't know if it's because the organization itself does it that way intentionally to like cut costs in certain areas. I'm not too sure. I'm not on the committee. But yeah, there was just so much coming out about like accusations that the living conditions were fucking horrendous, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting flashbacks from the last Olympics. In other news, Blake Lively. Oh wait, no, Olympics, I'm not done yet, I forgot. It was announced that the 2028 Olympics are going to be hosted in Los Angeles, California. And Snoop Dogg, Billie Eilish, Dr. Dre, who's the other person? Was there someone else? I can't remember. They did a performance basically to do the announcement, and it went viral on TikTok because it wasn't a live performance. It was pre-recorded and it was closed off, and according to people that made videos, they said that everyone that you could see in the video was essentially a paid actor. And they were like, you know, if they just let the real fans come out, it might have been a better energy than looking as dead as the performance did. When it comes to crowd reaction, not the artist. The artist did phenomenally. Is that it for Olympic news? Yeah, I think so. In other news, that Billie Eilish that Charlie XCX song has been a fucking chokehold, and the internet is coping from going to to a very demure, very mindful, very cutesy existence after living our best brat summer. And I'm living for all the reactions. If you guys don't know what the demure trend is, it is a trend on TikTok that was started by Jules, who is a fabulous content creator on the app, and she's so funny. And with it, I mean, overnight, she catapulted to fame. And she has since gone to explain in a couple videos. She's like, you guys don't understand, like, demure started for me as sarcasm. She's like, all these people getting all upset, like, you guys aren't using the word right, and you should look up the actual definition and all this stuff. And she basically goes on to say, like, it's me making jokes about myself and laughing at myself and, like, habits and things that I did in the past. And the green cut crease, which is the first video that started it, she talks about how when she first got the brand deal with Urban Decay, how She also had just started her job at Texas Roadhouse. I think it was, yeah, Texas Roadhouse. And she, like, that's where it came from. And it's like, I don't wear too much makeup. I don't go to work in a green cut crease. She did. But everyone's been doing it, and it's gotten all the way to fucking Penn Badgley, to Jenna Ortega, to fucking literally everyone. Basically everyone is in the fucking sound. I did the trend. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And it is honestly very cutesy, very demure, very mindful, very modest trend that people are getting so riled up about. And I'm just like, y'all cannot be taking this so serious. Like, why are we so upset about this? It's a cutesy trend. But yeah, I don't know, the internet's been it's been a place I signed back on after like being off for so long, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? But another thing occurring on the internet, allegedly J-Lo donated $4.5 million to aid in Palestine. I don't know if that's actually true. It happened a few days after everything's been going on with Blake Lively beef, essentially. Not beef. No. So, and I said it on here before. I said it on Pop Culture. It ends with us. And this is part of the heavier part of the episode. So, It Ends With Us is a book part of a series that is authored by Colleen Hoover, and it depicts a, well, domestic violence relationship. And when it was first announced that Blake Lively was going to be not the titular character, the main lead, the main female lead, Lily, everyone was like, no, it cannot be Blake Lively. Like, we need somebody else, right? And I was like, you know, guys, maybe she'll do a good job. I was like, but I don't know, I kind of don't see it. I've since read the book. And more than I read it, I was like, ooh, I don't know how this is gonna go. And I was like, maybe she'll fucking surprise us. She has surprised everyone in a very unexpected, not very cutesy, not very demurtsy way. So, there's been a lot of rumors flowing around about why it happened, how it happened, everything that's happening with the film itself. But Justin Baldoni, who has been directing it, and this person right here on TikTok, gave a fabulous rundown, explanation of the whole fucking thing. This other creator was like, you know, they painted a really good other side to it, and now I don't know how I feel about it. But basically, Justin Baldoni not only starred as the main male lead, but also as the director for the film. There were talks that there was artistic differences between Blake and him, and it was very apparent even in the way of them promoting the film. Because he was very open, very vocal about the fact that it is a domestic violence film. He listed resources on his Instagram page for it, and when he does interviews for it, mind you, he's not been doing it with any of the cast or Colleen Hoover, who initially supported him through all of this. They ended up doing 2 different endings for the film, and when this all really popped off when they asked Blake, you know, like, what kind of film is this? And she's like, yeah, you know, bring your florals, bring your girls. And people were like, that's not what this movie's about, though, right? And that kind of threw everything up into a frenzy, so much so to really dissecting Blake Lively's character, her personality throughout the years, as well as claims against Justin Baldoni being weird on set and all this stuff. And the supposition is that Justin wanted to make his character likable in the beginning, And Blake came in with a mindset of like, no, because he's a narcissist, so he has to be evil from jump. And he's like, no, because in the book, that's how it starts. Like, he isn't, and that's reality. A lot of narcissists are very charming, are very likable. They seem very not, like, when everything comes out, you're like, no, that person would never, type of thing, right? It's supposed to be jarring. It's supposed to, you know, make it, basically it was a passion project for him, where his vision was like, with this, people will understand why it's not so easy for victims of domestic violence to leave. And Blake Lively and the rest of the cast have kind of been promoting the film like a rom-com. She's been using it for promotion for her hairline, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't even know she had a shampoo conditioner line. I was just like, that's wild news to me. Also, it was coming out around the same time as Deadpool. There was some blind item that I saw that said that they were trying to do a like Barbenheimer and have like a cutesy movie with a real dark movie. And I'm like, in this case though, we do realize that what you're telling people to wear their florals to is actually the dark movie and Deadpool is the cutesy movie, but we're just gonna leave it alone. I'm like, let me not start. Let me not stress myself. That would not be very mindful of me, not very demure. And obviously it backfired. I mean, Deadpool Wolverine was a smashing success, darling. Like, everyone was fucking eating it up. NSYNC was thrown into it because of Deadpool's routine. Like, it was such a vibe, right? And then everything with It Ends With Us started happening, and the entire book is about breaking generational cycles, because not only does Lily experience it with, what is the main male's name? This is his name. I don't know why I can't remember right now. And she then tells her daughter later on, spoilers by the way, it ends with us, and thankfully they left the fucking line in the film, but anyway, tells her that because she saw it with her mom and her mom saw it with her mom, and it's been a pattern of abuse and just hurt over the years, you know. So the movie being promoted as something lighthearted is being seen as very tone deaf, especially when this one interviewer asked Blake Lively, you know, what if someone, you know, off the street comes and approaches you and is like, oh, you know, this movie impacted me because they resonate with the darker aspects of the story. And she did not respond well, and like the one creator who put a very different perspective said she put her foot in her mouth. Now, Justin has spoken, you know, highly of her and all of that in the interviews he's done, and people were like, okay, but that part can seem very shady. His PR team is doing the damn fucking thing, and they're doing a great job, right? The reason I keep saying the creator put it in a different perspective for me, so what she goes, and you guys should definitely go ahead and check out the video, both videos of both creators that I have, you know, put a little screenshot of their vid. Go watch it. They give very amazing perspectives. But what she said specifically was, what if Blake Lively is not reacting as a tone-deaf person that doesn't understand the subject matter because she's never experienced it, but what if it's because it's so close to home that she's basically hitting a wall, and like what I've said on here before, noping out of it, like nope, because it's too much, it's too personal, so she will not acknowledge it for what it is, because then that would require her to acknowledge her life for what it is, type of thing. sorry, I forgot to turn off my notifications. And I was like, go away, why is it popping up? So when she said that, I literally froze, and I was like, oh no. I went down a rabbit hole, y'all. It got into like blind items that had to deal with Ryan Reynolds and him having messy relationships in the past, and how he's been labeled as controlling it previously, and how even he's himself said in interviews he prefers Blake to be at home versus her acting, and she wants to act all the time. And they had their wedding on a plantation, and so many things that are just like coming to the forefront that I was like, ooh. Well, we started off so strong. I was like, oh my god, Blake and Gigi, cause chic, iconic, and how I'm just like, hunty. Baby girl, no. Anyway, it's a lot's been happening in the world of popular culture, my lovely hummingbirds. And that ends the segment of what's happening, what's poppin', what's been going on. Oh, wait, before we get into it, my lovely hummingbirds, if anyone in this fucking life tells you that dreams don't come true and manifestation doesn't work, tell them to Google Joseph Quinn and Doja Cat in London. Because she manifested her man, y'all. They were walking. They were, what the fuck did... One article said they were canoodling. And he so ever cutesy, demurely, mindfully put the hand on the butt. And I fucking love this for her. I really do. Now, without further ado, let us get into today's topic of conversation, which is everything is a cyclone. I mean cycle. And this is all about... I just saw 242. Son of a biscuits and gravy. It's all about the cycles of healing during the self-love, self-healing journey. The reason that the episode is titled Everything is a Cyclone, I Mean Cycle, is because she moves her body like a cyclone. And she wants to do it all night long. No. So, actually, well... my semi-nonsense aside, I was listening to the song when I came up with the title for today's episode. So it's not completely unrelated. But one of the things, and also during that week of like me planning everything out for season 5, I started seeing a lot of things about how we're at the point where Y2K is back in, essentially, and how everything that was worn in the 90s and early 2000s is on trend again. And I'm just like, as I was saying, I was seeing everything about trends and everything coming back in trend from the early 90s and 2000s, and I started seeing a lot around traumatic cycles and experiences, and I was, reading up on some stuff, and I was like, a lot of millennials do have Chiron and Virgo, and it's all about being a wounded healer. And I sat there and I was like, ooh. I'm like, we really are a generation that, not all really lived the same life, but kind of, due to the patterns and cycles that were lived by those that raised us. And I was like, okay, cool, how are we going to incorporate that into makeup and motivation? And I was like, okay. If you haven't seen Thank You, It's Vintage, The Generational Trauma, you should definitely go and check this video out. The link is in the description. Now, with everything is a cyclone, I mean cycle, in the journey of life, love, and self-healing, you go through many, many phases of that healing journey, because especially if you suffer various forms of trauma throughout your life prior to beginning your healing journey, there are going to be various things that require different levels of healing and attention before you can fully be present and say, like, holy shit. You know, like, before you gain that hindsight of, like, oh damn, that's where I was to where I am. The moving on, if you will, in life. And a cycle, when it comes to the healing journey, is essentially a pattern that we repeat until we learn our lesson. And the reason why I said it's a cyclone, I mean cycle, is because a lot of these cycles will make you feel fucking dizzy. Like, your head is fucking spinning. Like, y'all remember the scene in Lord of the Rings where fucking Gandalf is being spun and everyone attributes it like, this is what the spins feels like when you're fucking drunk? Yeah. That's a cycle in the healing journey. One of the things that I feel like in recent time it hasn't gotten so glossed over, or at least not on the For You page that I'm on, not on my algorithm, but one of the things that can get very glossed over at times is the fact that the healing journey is not easy. It is not easy. It is not linear. Why did my voice go Channing Tatum Gambit? I can't. The fuck was that? Oh my god. So basically, it's like it's going through it's going through phases over and over and over again until you're like, holy shit, I'm tired of fucking doing this. How do I not do it? And that's where you break those cycles. That's where you break those generational curses. In those moments where essentially you get sick and tired of being fucking sick and tired of repeating lessons. There's something that Jules, our very demure-y, very kind, very mindful, very cutesy, demure-y queen, said. She spoke about how basically the act of self-victimization and blaming everything and everyone else for our own actions, our own way of being, our own reactions, and things of that nature, and used examples examples that occurred to her, like basically saying like inconsistency and all this stuff. It's like there comes a point where like you can't keep blaming the entire world for active decisions that you're making. And in the journey of life, love, and self-healing, with everything is a cyclone, a cycle. So think of a cyclone, my lovely hummingbirds. What is a cyclone? And no, I'm not talking about the T-Pain music video. But a cyclone is essentially a natural disaster that can have up to like hurricane level winds, can cause tornadoes, can cause flooding, hurricanes in like when they are tropical cyclones, things of that nature, and they cause a lot of devastation and disaster in their wake, especially if you are horribly unprepared to face such inclement weather. And like with everything in life and in nature, you can never be 100% fully prepared for everything, right? Sometimes damage will happen. You just have to make sure that the damaged thing is not you. That said, when it comes to journey, life, love, and self-healing, cycles can be very much like a cyclone. It can affect not only yourself, but also your immediate environment. And depending on the level of stress and pre-existing pressure that your body, your mind, and your spirit are holding, y'all ever hear the saying, it's the straw that broke the camel's back? Same concept. It can be the final straw that just pushes you over the edge and not rampage. Why did I just think of Archer? Rampage! Shout out to one of my besties. Ava friend, baby, if you're watching this, hi. I love you. Rampage! Okay. I'm done. But it's one of those things where, like, I wish I wasn't so fucking tongue-tied right now. So I can get this message out. But essentially, when it comes to trauma, especially the generational kind, as I mentioned in the other video, it is not something that only impacts the person experiencing it, but also every person in their lineage after, including those around them that can suffer by association, that are impacted through knowing the person, through being next to this person, through whatever shape or form, right? And one of the things that is believed in spirituality is that if you don't learn your lesson, you keep repeating the cycle. When it comes to trauma, when it comes to generational curses, especially because this is part 2 of generational curses, so much goes into unlearning something we are convinced is meant to happen to us through a learned experience. The example that I gave in the previous episode was if someone ends up getting abandoned by their spouse or their spouse dies, they hold on to that, don't properly process and heal through that, they will forever carry it and bleed it onto the next generation, the next, so on and so forth, till no one wants to have either any form of serious commitment due to whatever underlying fears or anger or resentment or whatever heavy feelings, or it can be hyper done on the other end of the spectrum, right? So when it comes to life, the journey of life, love, and self-healing, sometimes what we need to fix, well, all the times, what our main focus should be is ourselves, our projections, and really honing into why it is the way that we think about certain things when it comes to self-imposed impediments that we place upon ourselves to achieving our goals and dreams and hopes and desires for everything that we wish for in this life. If you are on your journey of life, love, and self-healing and betterment and all that, to whether it is to obtain higher consciousness or be on a different, soul level spiritually, or building yourself up, or, whatever the reason is that you started this self-healing journey, or like I mentioned, you got sick and tired of being sick and tired. It takes work. Oh, does it take work? And one of the hardest parts is not facing the bad shit. It's not the dark night of the soul. It's the gratitude and forgiveness you have to give yourself after you do it, during, and when the tests come back around to see if you're really ready for your blessings. To see if you're really going to put your fucking mouth where your money is. You're really going to do what the fuck you said you were going to get up and do yesterday. It is unlearning all the self-deprecating talk. It is unlearning the mindsets built from a space of lack that you have accepted as your own, even if it didn't always start off that way. It is procrastinating things that you know are going to be your utmost success and abundance and absolute zone of prosperity, because you have instilled fears of, I can't succeed, I'm not good at this, oh my god, what is my family gonna say, oh, what are my siblings gonna say, oh, what is whoever that you love that is near and dear gonna say, type of thing. Or, well, no one that looks like me has ever done it before. No one with my background has ever done it before. No one from the place that I come from has done it before. Who am I? Type of thing. Not Jean Valjean played in my head. I swear Les Mis is like permanently cemented in my fucking brain, y'all. Who am I? 24601. Love me some Les Miserables. Love that fucking play. Anyway. I mean, look at Jean Valjean, y'all. Ended up in jail for a loaf of bread. In indentured servitude. Had to literally climb a fucking mountain to have the parole officer stamp his papers. And then he had to, all the things he had to go through. That musical is so fucking tragic, and it's so beautiful at the same damn time. Your biggest motivator, at the end of the day, my lovely hummingbirds, physically in the 3D realm, is going to have to be you. Because, as I mentioned, it is the journey of life, love, and self-healing. While we can heal with the presence of others, and there are others that have beautiful spirits, and if you're watching this, you're probably a healer yourself, my lovely hummingbirds, and you've been called to do that in this lifetime. While yes, that is a form of healing, there comes an awareness and a self-understanding in the journey of self-love that no one can do for you, as well as a level of self-accountability and not basically putting up with your own bullshit at the end of the day. If you're sitting there and you're like, oh my god, I'm stuck in a fucking cycle, I don't know what to do, this keeps happening, this keeps happening, this keeps happening, why does this keep happening to me? Well, that's when you need to take a pause and pull back and be like, fuck, how am I feeding this narrative? How am I feeding this situation? How are my actions not in line with the best version of myself, with the highest version of myself? And this is not a victim blame mindset at all. That's not what this is. Sometimes bad shit does just fucking happen, because sometimes people really just fucking suck and are terrible. And fuck those people. You don't deserve that. But there are moments when we have to really look at not only who we are at our core and what we value and do not value, and understand that not everyone is going to see things in the same way we do, but also look at, okay, what is me and what is learned. What is me and what did I accept as is me because I was trying to appease someone else's idea of me. What is me and what is the version that I have so specifically catered because I don't want to bother anyone. What is me and what is the version that I watered down so that it is more digestible for someone else to accept at least a version of me. Where am I making myself small? Because I was told that that's what I'm supposed to be and that was my place. What is truly me? And what is the defense mechanisms that I built around myself to hyperfixate, to hyperfocus, to do more, to be on the other extreme of this so that no one can hurt me? What is me and what is my self-made defense mechanisms that are not actually helpful and useful, but a detriment to my growth and vulnerability and understanding and love in this life? When it comes to generational traumas and breaking those cycles, my lovely hummingbirds, it really is fucking layered like an onion. And I thank God every day that we grew up a Shrek. If you are part of that generation. But it really is a breaking down. Like I said, it is an unlearning and relearning. A breaking down to build up type of situation. That is the only way you end a cycle. You gotta learn that lesson. And learning the lesson is not always just experiencing some horrible shit a billion times. It could be experiencing it once, even if secondhand, and being like, you know what? Nope, not for me, not doing that. That is also possible. You don't always have to do everything the hard way. I don't know who that is for. I don't know what I'm channeling right now. I started channeling at some point. You don't always have to do everything the hard way. Sometimes things can really just be simple, carefree, easy, chill, relaxing, and beneficial for you. Not everything has to be a battle. Not everything has to be a game of win or lose. Not everything always has to be a chess match where you have to be 20,000 billion steps ahead so someone doesn't do something underhanded. And if at every single fucking turn you're feeling someone's going to do something underhanded, then either you need to look at your environment or you need to look at yourself. Because one of the two has to change. Or you will not move on from that cycle. You will not move on from that pattern and you will be stuck there. Generational curses are a very funny thing, and not haha funny. They, like I said, not only get passed down, but are so layered with many facets to it. For example, when it comes to love trauma, like I mentioned, well, not only is it going to affect romantic relationships, but also platonic ones, and the ways that you move in them, and the ways that you speak about yourself in a loving manner or not, the way that you speak of others in a loving manner or not, the way that you handle business even, the way you handle your creative projects, the way that, because the driver for sex and art is the same one in the body. Teehee. And how you dress yourself, how you feed yourself, how you take care of your body, whether you do movement or not, depending on how limited your movement is or not, how you look at the outcome of your life, if in a more positive or a more negative light. Do you have, granted, we all have ups and downs, my lovely hummingbirds, we really do. And like the very wise rooster from Robin Hood, yes, the animated Disney version, said in his song, sometimes the highs outweigh the downs, and sometimes the downs outnumber the highs. And that is life. Quite fucking unfortunately at times. But one other thing, I can't remember what fucking book I read this in, y'all. It was some self-help book. One of my many woo-woo books. But it said something along the lines of like, oh my god, I just lost it. Son of a biscuit. Basically, the way we perceive the world, or the way we are perceived, is not directly based on truth. It is based on reflection. So like, and that is not verbatim, that's me summarizing. Basically, like, if you're seeing someone, ooh, I saw this recently, it was a TikTok. Not what I just said. I saw a TikTok where someone was like, oh, when so-and-so meets so-and-so, this Mercury retrograde is kicking my ass and I hate it. But basically, like, two people, or no, someone in the comments was like, you can see this from two very different perspectives. Either this is a very good thing, and like, this is the scenario, or like, oh, that's what it was. So someone did a little clipped video of Bonnie waving at Elena in the Vampire Diaries, and then Damon pops in and goes like this to Elena, and someone was like, my crush, me, and then Damon is the best friend, and going like this, and someone was like, oh, you need to get rid of your fucking friend if they're like waving at your crush like that, blah 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 blah. And the other person was like, I perceived it as my best friend is very protective of me and saw some red flags I clearly didn't in that crush, type of thing. And I was like, damn, it really is all about perspective, isn't it? Do with that information what you will, my lovely hummingbirds. On the other note of the, either you're gonna have to change you or your environment, sometimes to heal, my lovely hummingbirds, you have to realize what's making you sick, even if that truth hurts. You have to look around and decide you want for better. Y'all know how the saying goes, you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. The same applies to the love, life, and self-healing journey. If you don't want to grow, if you don't want to be better, if you don't want to do the work that it's going to take to get there, you simply won't. Until you start unraveling your negative mindset towards others, your negative bias towards others, based on whatever previous actions. No one's perfect. Your negative self-talk because of whatever previous negative bias. Remember, you are not perfect either. Perfection does not exist, my lovely hummingbirds. And also, comparing your journey to somebody else. It's death. It's not, your journey will never be exactly the same. Whether it is me, any other spiritual baddie on the internet, any other person that you know in close proximity to you, no two journeys are alike. While we might have similarities, they are never entirely the same. The biggest, like I said, biggest cycle breaker what is going to definitely help you end those cycles of trauma is you wanting to and doing everything in your power to. Not to maintain control, but to be vulnerable. Not to put up walls so you're never hurt again, but to heal after every moment that you are. Not to lose yourself in endless joy and euphoria and glee, but to also learn how to sit in silence and be at peace with your own thoughts. The more you go on, the more you heal. The more comfortable you'll grow in your own skin. The more okay you'll be with trying new things. And the more happier you'll be looking back 20, 30 years from now. I saw 22, 44 as I'm gonna say this. Looking back and seeing that you started your journey to begin with. Breaking a cycle, especially one that has been repeated through generations, is not easy. But if it truly ends with you, it's going to take a whole lot of commitment, a whole lot of unlearning, a whole lot of doing, and a whole lot of accepting strength and power and resilience that you never even knew you had to begin with. And also, and this is for my lovely hummingbirds that believe in some higher power. Your lifeline at the end of the day, besides yourself, is going to be the universe. It's going to be God. It's going to be your spiritual team, your guides, your ancestors, your divine beings, your holy guides, all that you trust and believe in. That will be your main lifeline. You and God. Because there will be moments where you will feel truly alone. Where there will be moments where you truly have no one you can share things with, can say things to. And it won't be easy. But there are moments where you have to heal you. Where you will have no village. You will have no one there. And you're going to have to hold on tight to God and trust. And keep doing and keep building. And keep going. And growing and glowing and being a demure, cutesy, mindful, iconic, amazing hummingbird that is part of the glittering. Alright, my lovely hummingbirds, I don't know, I started channeling, went way off the rails on this one, but I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you love it. I hope you took whatever bits of wisdom you could from it. So 25 as I said it. This little reading that we're gonna end up doing in a bit is gonna be very interesting, especially because I have to go home and do it. Well, I have to go to my parents and do it. Cause I can't do it here. It's late, and I gotta get to work in the morning. But afternoon, I don't know. I work later on in the day. I don't know. Point is, I need to get some sleep. But anyway, that's it. That is one of my toxic little cycles I need to break. Staying up so fucking late. Anyway, that's it. from me for you for today. Welcome to season 5. Didn't know I'd start tearing up at some fucking point. Didn't know I'd start channeling in the middle of makeup and motivation. I hope you enjoyed today's makeup look. If you have any makeup look ideas that you want to see, any cosplay characters that you want to see, and you're like, bitch, I have not seen you do this, we'll do it. It'll get done. But I hope you enjoy season 5. I hope you absolutely love it. Like, share, subscribe, all of it. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye, my lovely hummingbirds. Les mando mucha paz, muchos besos, y les recuerdo que miren hacia la luna, sending you much peace, many kisses, and reminding to always look up the moon. I love y'all, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.